What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Bringing you guys the next review as I promised during the Trez versus Rock recap. Check that out if you haven't. I did say Rum Nitty versus Real Sikh would be the next review up, and here we are, first half of the next day, and that's exactly what we're putting out. And it's a battle everyone had high hopes for. It was kind of almost consensus picked as battle of the night going into the event. Hearing the in the building report, because we had no stream, we heard that it was battle of the night, and I can say I think Miss Hustle vs. Fonz got a little outside argument. It was a really good battle, and it's the only other great back and forth that I've seen from this event, in my opinion, besides this one. But I do think Rum Nitty vs. Real Sikh is the best battle from Bars Over Politics. Obviously, a lot of penmanship, a lot of peaks to talk about, just a few things to discuss with a battle like this. Without further ado, let's get right into the bars. So, battle starts out on Rum Nitty. Starts out with this calico concept. Real rap, get every round from a calico. Then he brought it around and said it's a difference between metaphors and real rap. So, we're on to the name flips off rip. I feel like he's done a few of those calico concepts too, differently in a couple other battles. And then right back into the name flips. I got real sick and lost my mind, like Alzheimer's, which was very fire, but basically got no reaction. I know that I had heard in the building, and this kind of goes for both of their first, that the battle started right after Rock versus Trez. So you'll notice, I think in the first, kind of both of them are slept on. It picks up towards the end of Real Sikh's first, and then for the rest of the battle, it's really not an issue. But for me, it's something I noticed off rip because I thought that definitely deserved reaction. But then he has the Sing Can't Stop the Rain, like Lamar Silas. He had said Sikh's government name in the beginning. I believe his last name is Singh, S-I-N-G-H, I believe is how it would be spelled. And then obviously BMF when Lamar singing Can't Stop the Rain. Thought that was cool. Talking about how Real Sikh wasn't always muscular, and he was saying, I could imagine Real Sikh husky as a euthanasia, but now it's time for a vet to put him down. Husky, euthanasia, put him down. I thought that was clever. You don't have that wrap up a whole year like Uncle Murda. I thought that was hard. Talking about he had a gun under the seat. It'll pull under the seat like a pull-out couch. You better retreat, better retreat. So I think Nitty's kind of wilding halfway through the first here, albeit I don't think that the delivery, was all the way at 100. If I was Real Sikh, I'd take off like medical leave. I thought that was fire. Punching real rap like Geechee Gotti. So a lot of rap, a lot of real flips. Better get you in a view and then give you wings like Hot Ones. Everyone knows about the Hot Ones interviews where they eat the wings throughout. I thought that was crazy. In real life, it can actually happen. In real life, it can actually happen. Thought that was clever. Have Sing holding his chest like the national anthem. Thought that was crazy too. And then another bar that got no reaction is closer in his first, and I thought it might have been the best bar of his first. I can't remember the setup exactly, but it was they saying my name in Real Sikh's mouth. Now we could talk mano y mano. Mano. I thought that was stupid. So it was actually one of the longer. It's not even the shortest round Nitty has here. It kind of feel like it went quick because I don't think it's like super reaction heavy, but material wise, one of his better rounds of the battle, to be honest with you. And then it's on Real Sikh in the first, and I thought this was easily Real Sikh's best round of the battle. You ever seen an eye get stomped out like Pixar? I thought that was dope. I seen things that would make a hitman emotional, like Discard, a good playing off the current event. I like that too. Gun on me, I only touch this bitch when I'm clocked in like a work wife. I thought that was fire. Put him 6 feet in the ground, show the alien with the earth. I thought that was dope too. Call me Aki again. Call me Aki from the store, and I'm gonna hold the chopped cheese in. I thought that was fire. So Sikh's obviously picking up early. He has this you confusing fast, kind of remixing Nitty's you're confusing punch shadow boxing with airstrikes. He flips it and he says you're confusing fast rapping with a Tech 9. I thought that was crazy too. The subordinate wordplay I thought was cool. He'll get hit, smack with 2 fingers, like what's up, Shun? I thought that was pretty clever. And then I think that's where Sikh especially started getting love in his first round. Even though, obviously, there was fire stuff in the beginning of the first, I feel like that's where he really picks up. My people got gas stations. Where you think I got this pump from? I thought that was fire. Fire on both sides, like 1-1. Thought that was dope. Chainsaw with your name on it. Rum. That was fire. And somebody brought it to my attention. I thought I might have King Jable said it long time ago to Rum Nitty. It doesn't take away from it to me, but really, really fire. It reminded me I'd heard it before, but that was a haymaker. And then the bar after, I liked even more. Talk about shoot him in the back. Perfect way to go for an alien, a flying disc. I like that. He had this picking up. He's paralyzed on a stretcher smack. Are you picking up when I'm putting down? I thought that was dope. And then similar to Rum Nitty, he has a closer that I feel like just didn't get the love that it deserved. All you'll see is talking about the get off the rope slogan from Nitty. He said all you'll see is 619 spinning off the ropes. Obviously Rey Mysterio with the 619, one of my favorite finishers in wrestling. But listen, content wise, man, this is a great round. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the footage fully, I mean, they're great in the footage. I don't know if the crowd fully does this round justice. But obviously really, really good on both sides. And I think that it's close enough. There's almost a debate there content wise, but in my opinion, Sikh had the energy in this one. Obviously the rapping ability is almost always going to go his way. So when it's a content-based thing, like if the round material is that close, Sikh does have some of those other things where, you know, you can say he definitely had more of the crowd on his side from his performance, from his pure rapping ability, and even his aggression. So fairly close round, but I still almost like a comfortable edge to Sikh 1-0 to start out the battle. Now we go back to Nitty in the second round, and we spoke, Sikh's first is his best round of the battle, how powerful it was, and I think, I know that the second is Nitty's best round of the battle, but I also believe that it is the peak of the battle, and he starts out early with it. I'm not going to talk about you working at 7-Eleven because I want to put you under the sheets. It was a haymaker to start off rip. From there, you'll see Sing with the organs out like a church choir. I thought that was dope. I get straight to the point like an inbound pass. Like, that's not a haymaker, but that is a very clever bar. I like that. I'll tell you what, I won't even kill you. We'll take you to the barbershop and cut your hair, and then you'll see real Sikh with the tremors, like Muhammad Ali, real Sikh with the tremors. That was crazy. It was a haymaker. So now he's, in kind of his flow state to start the second. He has hit him dead in the stomach like a still. He had his jab overhand set up, which he's kind of, I don't remember the first battle he did it. I think it was Fonz where he says jab, he says a punch, jab, and then kind of the biggest punch is the overhand, right? So he had that stillbirth bar, a couple others, and he said, you'll never see India again like Lil Durk, which is probably the main clip that's going around. Crazy, one of the better bars the entire battle. Said my life's never been a movie. Only time I shot a motion picture was at the gun range. That was stupid. That little bit of drug talk too. Whip it till it turned hard. No power steering. I feel like I kind of heard that before, but pretty good bar. I stood tall with my back against the wall like a growth chart. When they marked your height against the door hinge. I thought that was crazy. Then he kind of has, and something that I feel like we'll play a little bit into the third round. We get to that discussion. Kind of has this part saying I get criticized for short rounds when I'm really just rapping the contracted time, and he said that when the battles go down, they need to find someone to blame. So then I turn into Houdini, a scapegoat, the escapegoat, obviously Houdini unlocking all the locks and whatnot. Another one that it's not a haymaker, but I just thought like extremely clever kind of in-between bar. And then he said, I think Jesus taking a day off because the Lord calling sick. So Rum Nitty's second is really not a second or a bar wasted. It is one of those high-power Nitty second rounds. And then Sikh goes in the second. I think his second is still cool. He is the alien needs papers. Here's a death certificate. I like that. I like that a lot. The Mexican chop turned the fourth quarter into 20 pesos. Thought that was dope. Give him brain swelling. Now he looks like an alien for real. So Sikh's fighting in this second too. Talks about the 22 twos. Well, I got 4 44s that'll even it out. I like that. You'll see sing over you talking like Michael Jackson with Oprah. Thought that was dope. He kind of has this EFB workout flip where he's like, I'll bench the weight of everyone in your group on every fucking bar. I understand the flip for it. Thought it was cool. Clip curve like the S on Dasani water I thought was dope. And then his closing bar was, you said you got the nose running, but I've been sick since birth. So even Sikh, I mean, there's not a bad round in this battle as you would expect considering the talents, but I felt like the second there was just a clear gap. It was someone's peak probably compared to someone's weakest round of the battle, even though, what is a weak round in this battle. But either way, I had Nitty in the second clear and had the battle 1-1 going into the third round. So third round of the battle, back on Rum Nitty. Starts out with another current event bar. I'll knock you out like Stiz, just put the Fetty down. I know Rock had a bar like that versus Trez earlier in the night. So, capitalizing on current events. Then from there, this kind of next little section is more legacy talk. Nitty talking about himself and then kind of on his accomplishments. Starts out with if it wasn't for battlers like Loaded Lux, Murda Mook, or Cassidy, I wouldn't battle Sikh. Referring obviously to Cassidy, him calling out Sikh for John's card. Thought that was clever. And then he gets, like I said, more into the legacy talk, talking about, doing this. It's about being at this level for 10 years, never giving less than 100%. And then he gets into even battling through health issues and no shows because they'd rather see you battle Sikh. So another kind of playing off the Sikh flip, right? And I like that. Just a kind of a different start there for Nitty, more substance-based to start the third, but I do like the second half of his third just a little bit more. Talking about we put our ops in a pack, so if he try, Sickle will get rolled up like Jigsaw. Obviously, Jigsaw on the tricycle, tricycle. I thought that was mad clever. It'll be an unidentified body in the wasteland. It's real in the field. I thought that was fire too. So kind of two bigger ones there towards the second half of his round. Now you seeing someone in real life like a catfish. Another in real life, end real life flip. But I thought those 3 bars in a row was kind of like a real like hot streak for Nitty in the round. You'll be paralyzed. People gotta help feed you every day. They gotta help you put your rap together like a ghostwriter. And I thought that was pretty dope too. So you do get more of a condensed Nitty third. Of course, anyone that knows whether he's fully prepped, whether it's late prep, Nitty is just gonna, if typically his third is going to be his shorter round of the battle, but it wasn't criminally short. I kind of almost even expected that going in. His round was about 240, 245, so definitely more on the conservative side, but I thought still pretty solid round there. And then you have Real Sikh in the third, and I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a lot of angle, kind of analysis. It is an angle-heavy round, which usually for Real Sikh is also a pattern for him. His thirds tend to be one of his more tailored, right? So he starts out kind of making fun on the comedy side of the Worcestershire sauce bar that Nitty had versus Lux. Like, it's like Worcestershire sauce, I can't tell you what's at stake. And then kind of flipped it like, oh, I bet you put ketchup at fries. So kind of making fun of the structure of the wordplay leads that into I'm just nitpicking bar, which, we've heard the nitpicking bar before, but I thought in general, kind of like how I like Nitty's different start to the third, I did like the more comedic start to Sixth third as well. And then flips that into the I'd rather shoot on you and not shoot at you. It hits different. I like that too, so that was fire. And this is where you get more into the back-to-back angling. Goes like 3 or 4 different approaches here. The first one is real quick, kind of has this thing about, you're just like Tay-Rock. You've been doing a Tay-Rock impression your whole career. Didn't sit with the angle too long. I didn't think it was the craziest, but then from there goes into an angle about Diz when he said the N-word in Houston, kind of being like, I didn't know that I'd have to check him and y'all wouldn't there on the West Coast. And another one I wasn't buying into as much, but then he lands it with you gave Diz a pass without a check like FEMA. I thought that was really dope. And then another angle after that. Like I said, it's a litany of angles here. He gets into kind of talk about the Foots battle, right? The time limit. And then he says Nitty has an issue with people getting aggressive and in his face, all to set up how is it the alien can't control time, space and time. And I thought a little jagged on the delivery, but I thought that probably was the best bar of his third round. I like that one. The hollow tips can't expand, just like you always rap about hollow tips, but you can't expand on a point. I thought that was cool. I remember Nitty had a bar like that, I believe versus Hollow as well. But still cool, no points away from it. And then there's kind of this main angle of the third, of the back half of Sixth third. And he's in this pocket for a while. I don't have it written out bar for bar. He's kind of going at it. But the sum of it is kind of talk about how Nitty isn't like a complete MC, a real MC like him, we'll say, kind of like not being able to rap after the events. He brings up this whole, how there used to be ciphers after the events and people would just have rhymes because at any given moment you could have to rap, which is absolutely true. And, a message like that is obviously going to resonate with the crowd, like bring it back to the days of real hip hop, right? And then ends it off with, if we go around the corner and turn on a beat, the only verse you'll have is these rounds for me. And I think in terms of the rapping execution of it, it took a lot of time to build up to that. And I think there was payoff. For me personally, my only thing is that I just don't see how that angle specifically applies to Nitty, who's been in a litany of ciphers, done a bunch of music. So Listen, angles are going to be a preference-based thing. Like I said, I think he still wrapped it great. He had momentum leading up to that. It just wasn't one that was overall too effective for me. And then after that, he had also a really good bar. He's Clark Kent, the alien, looks superhuman to me. Obviously, Superman, playing in real life as a human. So I like Sikh's third as well, and I'm kind of feel the inverse of some people in this battle. I've seen some people say the first is what it would come down to, and obviously, I gave Real Sick the first, but I thought the third was honestly the closer round. I know because kind of the stigma, not really stigma, the fact that Nitty does have shorter thirds, Sick rapping longer and kind of almost expecting that decline from Nitty in the third. I think, and listen, there's already a really good argument for Sick in the third, right? But for me, this was the debatable round that it came down to, and maybe it is off of that preference of angle choice, me not being fully bought into every approach, but even with what was about a minute, maybe 2 minutes of a shorter round than Sick, I thought Nitty was pretty efficient, and I personally edged him the third round of the battle, giving him the battle overall 2-1. So that is my final thoughts here for Rum Nitty versus Real Sick, my full review. Very happy with the battle. And even with it going down, I think under, more limited prep, right? I know Sick had kind of said, I think on 3, there was more in the 2 or 3 weeks range. And then Nitty with the schedule he had, he said he didn't even have rounds for this battle written out into rap until when he landed in North Carolina, he had the rounds, which is crazy. I almost feel like he's gassing it a bit because to come up with that in 24 hours with a clean performance as well is pretty nuts. But yeah, like I said, battle for me lived up to about, maybe if they had more prep, bigger stage, the impact would get added to it a little bit more. But quality-wise, this is right around, if not right at what I would have expected, which is really good from the battle. And in terms of how I called the winner, like I said, Nitty with the third edge and the second clear. There's going to be probably a bunch of you, and there is people with the case for Real Sick first and third, more than logical. I do think it is a very debatable battle. While I think the first is close, like I said, some people called that 50-50. I thought that was kind of where Sick showed that bit of separation. And the third, if there's any kind of battle I could compare it to logic-wise, kind of reminds me of Jazz and Nitty a little bit. Granted, I felt like Jazz stumbled in her third. That's not an issue for Sick anywhere in this battle, so definitely not the same exact type of situation. But I remember Nitty had a good first that got overpowered. He had a very powerful second that he won clear, and similar to that, I thought his third versus Jazz was pretty solid. I think his third versus Sick is pretty solid, but I thought in both of those battles, the door was left open, and hell, there's even still people that debate the Jazz won that battle. But for me, it's just about angle choice and hitting. When you angle against the puncher, I think it has a higher chance of hitting. People will be more receptive to it, but you still have to execute them properly. And for some people, he might have, but when it came to the, you're a rock clone, or what do you know about doing ciphers or being a real MC, those are just approaches for this particular battler. I just didn't see where it took away from the character or really stuck to him for me. But that's opinionated, and the third is super duper close, even bar for bar wise. So very good battle overall, and now I want to hear your guys' opinions, especially with this one. Who did you have winning? What did you think about the quality of the battle? And then obviously, what do you think this does for Sick and Nitty moving forward? I think, with Nitty, it's a little less to discuss because he's at a point in his career, especially post Lux battle, he's just battling all over the place, and there's a lot of good footage. There's even a couple things of bad footage. With the Keith battle he just had, I know that didn't really go his way. I had him personally losing the Vixen battle last, even though some people called that battle close. But it's not really a lot you could do to change with the legacy. I feel like with Rum, there's a couple matchups and plates. Calico, maybe Verb, a couple more, but besides that, he's just a bigger name that is just going to be battling around bigger cards. There's just not that much left for him in the game, so really brings the focus to Real Sick, and I feel like this is even though I personally had him losing the battle, I don't think this stops his momentum at all. There's going to be a ton of people that have him winning, and obviously he did not take a clear L by any means, so that momentum continues from kind of this win streak that he's built up, because in battle rap, even though it is mostly a win streak, the biggest thing for me is always just not losing clear. I feel like that was a big part of Geechee Gotti's run to the top. I felt like Easy was winning clear a little bit more, but the biggest thing was him just not losing clear, and you're seeing that same thing with Sick, and he's still got plenty of big names lined up that he could battle after, and he's kind of stayed true to the names he's called out. The man wants Ilmac, he wants Geechee Gotti, he wants Tay-Rock, he wants Chess, and I will say he did seem a little bit more up for the idea of battling a Chef Trez or a Swamp, who I guess you would consider more, Swamp is in his class, you know what I'm saying, technically, and Trez is more of like a newer era that would match up with Sick, and I know he wants to go for those big names. Any of those first matchups I mentioned would be great too, but especially with the way Chef Trez is rapping, specifically on this card, the way Swamp has been in legacy plates, the way new stars usually get built, you know what I'm saying? If you can get some new star matchups that sell themselves without using a vet, that's always good for battle rap. And I'm not saying it's the exact battle I want for him next. Might do a real sick book him because there's so many matchups out there for him right now. But whether it was Trez or Swamp, or if it was one of the vets like Rock and Geechee, I just think that there's only good things that are going to continue happening for Real Sick. I just hope next year we see him another, 3 to 4 times versus names like this. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.